And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network, live from the Hack here on YouTube. And we're kicking things off tonight with Highliner Wrestling. Coach Trevor Hansen joining us from Highliners. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well.
Good practice now?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Short on guys,
Yeah.
but yes, good practices, yep.
Well, we'll step back to last week before we move on to what's coming up tomorrow. West Fargo was here. Spirited duel with West Fargo. 48-30 was the final, but is that a good matchup with West Fargo? They're down a little bit this year.
Yeah.
That was a good matchup for you guys, wasn't
Yeah, I thought we matched up okay. Jaden at 145 was kind of where I thought we could get another win and then make it a little closer. Their kid's pretty good, but we were right in that match. And then, we just had to get an upset win somewhere else, kind of or maybe just a couple guys to not get pinned and fight a little bit more, and then score would have been a lot closer. But yeah, we match up pretty well. Giving up 2 forfeits in the duel. Yeah. It's tough, so. Especially
when they were right at the beginning, so you're down 12-0 before you even get on the map. Well, a couple of the matches I wanted to just point out, you look at the Hunt boys, Dylan and Owen, they had to wrestle a couple of ranked wrestlers. Logan Moore wrestled Dylan, and then Amari Williams, who was preseason #1 at heavyweight with Owen. And they started with Owen. It was 2-0. He was holding his own going into that third period.
Yeah, he's developed a lot. He started wrestling this year. This is pretty much his first year wrestling, and he's coming into his own. He's learning a lot, and he's getting in better positions, and he's in a lot, bigger matches, those matchups with those tougher kids, and he's been in those matches. And, he's only an 8th grader, so we have a long way to go, and he's gone a long ways already, but sky's the limit for him. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got great feet. So, yeah, that Amari Williams isn't, he isn't a world beater, but
right.
he's pretty dang good, and he's strong, and he's old.
Yeah, older,
way older than Owen. So yeah, and Dylan wrestled Logan Moore, and Logan Moore is just strong. He's not a super technical wrestler, but he's big, strong.
Those bigger weights, is it more a strength than it is technical?
Yeah, I mean, once you get to about 189, it's more about who's tougher, who's stronger, that type of stuff. There are some guys who are technical and who can do some more wrestling moves, but you don't find a lot of guys that shoot a lot or do a lot of stuff like that. It's mostly just, get a takedown or start on top and, get a turn. So a lot of times it's more about how strong they are.
Well, then on Saturday, went to Aberdeen. It was a little different because the weight classes were a little different because you're going with South Dakota. So I noticed Ethan Miller was at a 165 instead of his normal 172 or 189.
Yeah, and they had a 4-pound allowance.
Okay.
So it actually was 169.
Sure.
So Ethan was like, I'll just make 169, and that was fine. And, Carter Jewett, 157, was actually 161, which is what he's been pretty much making all year. So we just moved everybody around so we could get everybody in. And at first, I didn't know if we could have any extras in the tournament. Well, then it ended up being that we could bring some extra kids. And we did, but we had a few sick. And Colton, he's resting a knee, so he stayed home. So,
is this the time of year you want to get to that point where you're maybe tapering just a little bit to get ready for the East region coming up next week with just 2 duels left?
Yeah, next week. Yeah, next week we'll start to taper pretty good. Monday might be a little bit tough because we got the whole weekend off. This week's been pretty tough. We've done a lot of conditioning, and this is our week to get in shape and get, it would have been probably last week to amp it up, but we dueled on Tuesday, Thursday, and then went to the Saturday tournament. So when you're weighing in that many times and wrestling that many times, it's hard to just grind on that Monday, Wednesday of practice because you don't want anybody to get hurt and you got duels to take care of. And so it probably would have been a little bit more last week and then a little bit less this week, but last week was a little bit less, and now this week we're going really hard, and Friday will be, another tough practice, and Monday probably pretty tough, and then we'll taper off. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will all be a little bit less, and then, it's too late to get in shape now.
Yeah.
I mean, this week we can, but next week, you're not going to get your lungs next week. It's just not going to happen. So.
Well, tomorrow night we've got Central Cass and Fargo Davies come in. Of course, Central Cass bumped up. They opted up to Class A. They're in the EDC. And this is not a triangular. This is just 2 duels for Valley City with these 2. Central Cass, have they surprised some people how well they wrestled in Class A?
Yeah, and that's why we have them on the schedule, as we didn't at first, and then they realized a little bit later in the season here that they could probably make state duels as the 4 or the 3 seed. most likely probably the 4. Davies, Cheyenne, Davies, Devil's Lake, probably 1, 2, 3, and then it looks like Central Cass and Grand Forks Central are going to kind of fight for that 4 spot. So, yeah, then they kind of realized, well, we might be able to make it a state duel, so we should duel you. Well, I told Rob Hunt, our AD, at the beginning of the season, like, we should probably get him on the dual schedule, even put him on a triangular with somebody just to get him on the schedule because they are Class A. And they didn't want to. I don't know if they didn't think they were going to make state duels or if they didn't think they had a shot to or what. I was just like, should be dueling them. Then all of a sudden they tell us that we got to duel them, and I'm like, oh, that stinks because we're going to do parents' night between, and we got a bunch of activities, and we got to weigh in early, and and that kind of stinks for us. It'd be nice to have one duel, do a bunch of JV matches, get all our kids' matches in front of their parents or with their parents' night and all that other stuff, and then wrestle our duel. But yeah, they're both going to be pretty tough. And then we have a lot of sickness, so we'll see who comes to school tomorrow or who is able to wrestle or who feels well tomorrow, and so we're gonna be out some other kids too, so that's going to make it really tough.
And I know Davies, I think when they wrestled Cheyenne, had a bunch of kids out as well. Then with the night we wrestled West Fargo, it was Cheyenne's parents' night, and they had a bunch of kids out. But those kids are back, so it's a tune-up. So it's 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, roughly, for the matches tomorrow. But it might be a quick night. So you said you're going to do parents' night between the 2? Yeah,
we're going to wrestle Central Cass at 5. We're probably going to do JV for as many as we can get, as many as who are healthy, and get them to wrestle under the lights and with the parents. That duel I'm expecting to be done about 6:15-ish. Do parents' night from 6:15 to 6:45, and then hopefully start with some JV matches if we have any or if we want any or however that's going to work. With Davies, and then wrestle the duel. I'm expecting that duel to start at 7:15, 7:30, in there somewhere. But again, if we're out a few kids, it might be more forfeits, and it might be a quicker duel.
Right.
We might have more JV matches than we have varsity matches if we can get them. So.
Well, we'll have both matches on the Highlander TV Network here tomorrow night. And I just wanted to touch on the girls real quick. They're at the Belle of the Brawl in Castleton. 4 of our 6 girls went. We still took 12th out of 40 teams. How impressive is that, what these young ladies have done so far this year?
Yeah, we always say that our girls aren't separated from our boys practice-wise. They still practice in our room. They practice with each other, but they practice in our room. And we kind of always say, like, those girls are benefiting a ton from being learning the moves and drilling and wrestling hard and doing that stuff. They benefit a lot from being in there. If they were taking it easier, or if they weren't going as hard, or if they were maybe didn't have the practice time and that type of stuff, that it would be, they might not be, but they are all 6 very good. But we've had some injuries there too. Gabby's got an ankle. Victoria had her appendix taken out, and holy smokes, and we don't even know if she'll be back. So, hope, and I mean, hopefully she's okay. But, I mean, she is, but hopefully she's okay. And secondly, wrestle. Maybe be able to wrestle. But they wrestled pretty well. Miley was a little disappointed in her second place finish. She beat that girl earlier in the year. She went up a weight class. Test the waters, kind of see where it was at. So did Deegan. Deegan went up a weight class up to 130, and she did well, got 3rd, beat a lot of girls, and, we'll have some seeding criteria. Gabby took 6th, and Brooke took
I believe
5th.
5th or 6th,
I think she got 5th. Whatever, but they all wrestled pretty awesome. Brooke's coming along a lot, too. She's really learned a lot and really coming along, so our girl seems pretty good. I mean, you sprinkle in a few other girls. We had 8, 9, 10 girls. We'd be pushing for placing and getting up there.
Well, when I had them on the show here a couple of weeks, we were told there's 30 girls in express wrestling, and that brought some doe eyes, some wide eyes to those 3, and they're like, that's cool, having that many girls in express wrestling. So girls wrestling is definitely on the rise. In North Dakota, not just in Valley City, but in North Dakota.
Yep.
Well, now it's just final questions. We look towards next week. We'll get through the East region. Obviously, it depends on health and illnesses and everything. But literally, if we have a healthy group, we've got probably 5 or 6 guys who could be on the podium next week, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I would hope that we can get even more than that to
Right.
state. You know, I mean, Dylan and Owen are definitely both going to be up there. Colton, of course, and Ethan, and you know, we got some other kids. Jaden and Hunter are they're coming. They're working well. They're young, but they're working well. And you know, Chase Coughlin at 107, he's an 8th grader. He's been around, wrestled for a long time. So we expect a lot out of those kids, and we work really hard, and hopefully we can get a lot of them to go to state, because that's the goal. Some of their goals are just to qualify for state. Some of their goals are to, you know, I want to take 8th at state, you know, and that's some of their goals, and so that's the goals they have to write down going forward, and make sure that those happen. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we can get quite a few guys there. I'm hoping, and then of course the girls have regionals on the 9th,
Yep.
which is the Friday before ours. They're going to Carrington, and hopefully all 6 of them can wrestle, and hopefully all 6 of them can make it. Now there's obviously last year and this year there's qualifying for state, so
Right.
they got a place in the top 8 as well, which it's getting tougher and tougher just because more girls, and then they can enter all the girls that they have, you know. So they're making a push to limit the entries, because there's some teams with 25 girls on them, and they're entering all 25 girls into the regional tournament. Well, that's making it difficult,
Yeah.
more difficult for some other girls to make it to state, or
Sure.
to get to to make
Yeah.
it to state from regionals. But as it gets bigger, that'll come.
The rules will change as
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I appreciate it again. Thanks for joining us, and we'll tomorrow again, Central Cast at 5, then Parents Night, and then we'll have Fargo Davies around 7:15, 7:30, and we'll have a couple of matches tomorrow on the Highlander TV Network. And Trevor, appreciate you joining us.
Yep, thank you for the time.
You bet. That's Trevor Hansen joining us from Highlander Wrestling. We'll be back with more at Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander TV Network. Booyah! Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and joining us now, Jimmy Howard, the head girls basketball coach from the Highlanders. Coach, how are you doing?
Good.
Get through practice today, and everybody walking a little differently today, a little skip in their jump?
Well, I'm pretty tired today. Exhausting game both mentally and physically. Just trying to kind of get through some reps and get the soreness worked out, and get ready for Lisbon tomorrow.
9-0, they got off to that start, and did it ever cross your mind, oh, here we go again? Because it was 10-0 up there, or did you think,
You know, it crosses your mind like, okay, you know, we're flat right now, and we're coming out, we weren't ready, or meeting their intensity, and we had a couple turnovers, and you're like, all right, is it going to be that night again? You know, and we called timeout and just, you know, said, take a deep breath, we're ready for this, run our stuff, be strong with the ball, and we just need to get a basket and get ourselves going. And we didn't get it right away, but they didn't score again until we got a basket, and we were able to get ourselves going.
And then there was a physical game too. I mean, it was. I could tell when I talked to Drew afterwards. It was a physical ball game.
Yeah, kids were extremely wore out today. When you play a team that presses the way they do, not so much a zone press, but much more of a man press, you're asking a lot of your guards to continue to break it over and over and over again. But there's not this like magic 2 passes, and we can just. You're not beating a rotation. You got to beat your person one-on-one, and the girls did a really good job of continuing to accept that challenge and not mentally make too many mistakes. And so it can wear on you, just like our press, you know, we try to wear on other teams, and it wore on us both physically and mentally, but we were able to power through it for 4 quarters last night.
Of course, being physical means a lot of fouls. That means free throws. 81% at the line last night is what I had, 30 for 37, 12 to 16 in the 4th quarter. You harp on free throws. You talk about it. And Drew said, too, we do practice those kinds of situations at the line. The free throw shooting was a big key.
Yeah, you know, and we haven't always been a great free throw shooting team. I feel like in past years and even this year, even though our percentage isn't always great, we've done a really good job of making them when it matters most. You know, usually in the fourth quarter, if we're trying to put a game away or something like that, we'll make those, and and we'll miss them kind of throughout the game. It was nice last night to see us go up there, be composed, take a deep breath, and continue to knock down free throws. And because every time you go to line, you're making those free throws, it just hurts a little more. If we're missing those, those fouls don't hurt them as much. So that was really important, and our girls really focused in last night. And I couldn't be happier as someone who harps on free throws to have shot them so well last night.
How big was that 11-0 run to start the fourth quarter? Because they had come back, got within 3, and then you guys go on that 11-0 run. How big was that for you guys?
That was huge. Just in a little bit of a confidence boost. Is, you know what, we got, like, we can do this. You wonder if that creeps a little bit of doubt in the mind of your opponent, but it definitely gave us a lot of energy. It got a couple of our other players going a little bit, and it just, now that 11-0 run gives you that, okay, we made a couple mistakes, but we're okay.
Yeah. And like Drew said in the post game, we now know they're going to foul, so we know we can go to the foul line, and that's exactly what happened. Went to the foul line, and it kind of was put away at the foul line, if you will. Not won, but it was put away at the foul line. Well, now Lisbon coming up here tomorrow. 3 games left here in the regular season, Coach, and with 2 games on the road and then Northern Cass here. But Lisbon, do you forget about what happened when you played them here? And because this is a better team. I think they only lost like 4 to Northern Cass. This is a better team than what you faced earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're at home. Usually play better at home. We're trying to, it's a whole new feeling for us this year, and where we're sitting and really trying to focus as one game at a time and taking it as that's the next big game. Our goal requires us to finish the season here on a strong note, and so we don't want to take anyone lightly, because that's when you get yourself in trouble. And I said, tomorrow is the definition of a trap game. You come off a huge win. It wouldn't matter who we're playing. It's the definition of when you come off a huge win, and then do you have that letdown because the emotion was so high, the physicality was so high, the mental side of it was so high, and can we repeat and come back and just lock in and take care of business tomorrow? So a lot of the message today was next game, we got to move on. The kids have the same goal as we have as coaches, and so I'm hoping that we show up tomorrow ready to go mentally. You never know when you're dealing with high school kids, right. But we've shown a lot of grit this year in games, even ones we've lost, and I think we'll show up tomorrow ready to go. And it is, we got 3 games tomorrow, C Squad, JV, varsity, and it's a great opportunity for a lot of kids to play, and I expect the atmosphere to be pretty rocking there. So,
well, I know when you and I have chatted in years past, the goal when you get to this time is we want that home play-in game. We're always going for that. What's the feeling in that locker room now? We want to be the number 1 seed. We're going after the top seed.
It's different, It's hard to be a team that, you're hoping for that home play-in game to suddenly go from trying to just get a play-in game, a home one, to all of a sudden being at the top. Usually there's a struggle in between there, and we weren't that middle of the road team trying to get over the hump. We all of a sudden jumped up here, and I think there's just been a lot of learning, but it's exciting. The kids are excited to be in that situation, and they've done the work to put them there. And so we just got to finish the end of the year, and like I said, we're trying to take it one game at a time while looking at the big picture, but coming back to kind of the small picture of what's just right in front of us. And that's the task at hand for me.
That is the task. That's a big task, too.
Yes.
That is a huge task. Again, tomorrow with Lisbon, I believe the boys are there, too, so it'll be a busy game, a busy day in Lisbon. And that'll be tomorrow again with the Broncos. Final question, Coach. As this team gets ready for the Broncos, what's the keys tomorrow?
I'll take care of the basketball. Really, it comes down. I mean, our main goals in every game is to control the boards and limit turnovers. And if you can do those 2 things, you give yourself a chance every single game. And we did a great job last night of eliminating offensive rebounds for them and getting our own. Can we do that again tomorrow?
Right.
and get those offensive boards are huge for us as well. And so taking care of the ball, we'd like to get some steals, get out, get running, and just get some confidence plays for some of the kids and get them early. I think starting out well is going to be a huge key for us tomorrow.
All right, well, good luck, appreciate it, and we got one more home game, but we'll worry about that next week when we get to that point. The next important game is tomorrow with Lisbon. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and go Highliners.
Coach Jimmy Howard joining us on the Highliner girls basketball team. We're back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network, and now we switch gears and talking boys basketball. We got two of the seniors joining us here with Carver Peterson and Talon Larson. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Now, your schedule's just been wonky this year. You know, you go 2 weeks and no games. Now you got to go wait a little bit longer after last weekend before you play tomorrow. And Carver, I'll start with you. I guess just overall this season, obviously we've talked about the three class system and the way things have gone. Has this been the most enjoyable year you've had playing basketball?
Yeah, it's definitely the most enjoyable just because games are more competitive this year and just having a lot more fun.
It's fun to be in games from beginning to end. And talking with you, and we were just kind of kidding around about the rebounding, but it seemed like game in and game out, you're around that 10, 12 rebound. Is that something you take pride in, is getting in there and getting those boards?
Yeah, I like getting boards, and I don't like seeing the other guys get offensive rebounds. That makes me mad.
It takes you a little personally?
Yeah.
It's like, that's mine now. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
And you kind of can get to start the offense. You can either bring the ball up the floor or you can outlet it. Is that something, too, that, being able to do that, and being almost like a forward/guard, that getting that rebound is key for you?
Yeah, I like to, if I get the board, to push it if I see something, or give it to a point guard if nothing's there.
And then you can stop and pop if you have to, or take it all the way in.
Yep.
You got the options. Well, Talon, let's talking with you on the inside. Has it been a little bit different this year, facing some of these post players than maybe some of the bruised beefcakes that you had to deal with in the EDC? You had some wide bodies there, but has it been about the same, or does it not really matter?
I don't think it changed a whole lot. I mean, height has been a really big thing. They're not as tall, but it still doesn't mean that they're any worse of a player at all. But so for the most part, I'd say it's pretty much the same. But
what part of your game do you take pride in that you feel this is my best part of my game?
I like when I just get the ball and then go up with it, I guess, down low. Occasional three-pointer.
I was going to say, I've been seeing you out behind the line. You've hit a couple of threes now, and
Yeah.
But really, in all fairness and in seriousness, as a big fella, if you can do that, that really can create problems for the other team.
Yeah,
can't it?
exactly, yeah. Because then they have no choice. They can't just leave you wide open on three-point, and then when they come out and try to defend that, then you can drive past them instead. So opens up a lot more opportunities for me.
And passing too. It seems like you can got a lot of good looks and take the
Yeah.
ball out from that post position.
Yes.
And find one of these wide open guys that can hit the three. And is that something too that you work on, and something that you have in your mind? It's like, hey, it's not going to work for me here, so you got to look for that.
Yeah, it's kind of automatic, honestly. I don't find myself thinking about it. It's just when I see him, I guess it just happens. But
Yeah. It is. It's an instinctive thing.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. I might as well get it to somebody that can. Well, let's talk about tomorrow. Lisbon again coming up, and Carver, I'll start with you. Do you guys even did you look at a little bit of film from when they were here, or what's the process getting rid of the Broncos?
We haven't watched any film on them. We just like to focus on ourselves instead of focusing on them. We want to dictate the game instead of them dictate us. So yeah.
And Talon, being on the road, how big is it for you guys and important for you guys to get off to that good start in the game tomorrow?
Pretty important, I would say, just to get a good start to the game. Just keeps all of our like energy high and keeps us going throughout the whole game.
Go ahead.
Instead of like dipping down, if we start off slow, it's usually going to be a slower game. But if we can get going, it'll be a lot better result, anyways.
Right. I was going to ask you guys about last week's Western trip. What was, well, we'll start with you. What was that like and doing almost like what college teams do, going out and doing that Western stuff?
It was fun, but it was tired on your body, waking up early, and then playing at 1:30 or whatever time we did play at after
Yeah.
we just got done playing at 8:30 our time. It was hard on our bodies.
That's the thing. You lost an hour. I mean, you played Mountain Time, and then I think it was 9:10. I looked at my phone when you finished the game at Killdeer, or 8:10 out there, and then you got to turn on and play the next day. Is that something mentally, too, Talon, for you that is just kind of exhausting, if you will?
Yes. Yeah, I was feeling a lot worse on the second day than I was on the first day.
So a lot of sleeping on Sunday.
Yes.
You just got it. But on the side note, team chemistry is big, and how about that? Getting a chance to bond, in a hotel and doing the traveling like you did at Devil's Lake too, the same type thing. How big is that too for you guys as seniors with some of the younger players, just kind of working with them and getting a chance to bond with them on the road like that?
It's really cool, actually. Like, it seems a lot better this year than it was in the past years that we've been playing. It was also just cool being able to go to different gyms that we haven't seen before.
Right.
They were very nice. Killdeer's was awesome.
Killdeer looked pretty good.
Yeah.
At least on TV, it looked pretty good. I wasn't there, but it looked like it was a really nice facility. But well, now final question for you guys as you get ready here. You got a handful of games, Carver. What does this team got to do as we get ready for the postseason here in about a month and a half?
Well, we obviously got to win games, but if we fall short of winning games, we just got to make them close so they're scared of us in the postseason.
In order to get those games, Talon, what does this team? Is there one part of the game that Coach McDaniel, Coach Lentz has said we really got to get a little bit better at this?
We all need to be crashing the boards on every shot, no matter who shoots it. Myself, I have a tendency just to watch it go too, just expecting it's going to go in. Well, we can't be doing that because not every shot falls. So we need to crash boards hard on every shot.
I think I did watch one game, and I said, why are there 4 blue jerseys around, and where are our guys? Where's everybody else? Because, hey, we expect it to go in, so we're just going to go back on defense. But, yeah, crashing the board, and that gets you guys in your offense, doesn't it? You get the board, you can get in your offense a little bit sooner if you get that offensive or defensive rebound, and then you limit the other team in their possessions. But we got Lisbon coming up tomorrow. They're the 6 o'clock game, I believe. You guys are the early game of the doubleheader. So 6 o'clock for the boys as they take on the Lisbon Broncos. And I guess it's been a fun year, though, really. I mean, 6 wins already for this team, and it's been, you got to put 4 years together to get to that many. So are you guys proud of what you really have accomplished and what you're building here as seniors for this young group?
Yes.
It's important to build that foundation.
Yeah.
All right, guys, appreciate it. And good luck here tomorrow with the Broncos.
Thank you.
That is Carver Peterson and Talon Larson joining us. We'll be back here at Coach's Corner, live from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. And back here on Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network on this Wednesday evening. And hard to believe it is January 31st, the last day of January. We start February here tomorrow, and that means postseason going on. Let's just run through what's coming up here on the Highliner Activity Network. First off, tomorrow night, again, we've got wrestling with Central Cass and Fargo Davies, and that'll get started at 5 o'clock. We'll be on about 4:50 with our coverage. Again, JV matches first, and then they'll have the varsity match with Central Cass and with Valley City. And then the Valley City will parents night in between. Then about 7:15, 7:30, we'll wrestle Fargo Davies. You heard Coach Hansen talk about a few guys sick and with injuries. Might be a fairly quick night for Highliner Wrestling here tomorrow. But that's here next on the Highliner Activity Network tomorrow night. What else is going on with Highliner Activities? Speech is on the road. They're at West Fargo this weekend. And a shout out to the speech team last week. Had their first meet at North Sargent. 4 state qualifiers, 9 that placed in the top 4, so a very successful first meet of the year for Coach Matty Claiborne and the speech team for Valley City. Dancers had a great state meet as well, both JV and varsity, taking home a couple of seconds and a third in hip-hop, jazz, and kick for both. They're now on their way to Orlando, Florida. Matter of fact, they're going to be leaving here at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning as they will fly out and head to Orlando on the National High School Dance Championships, and that'll be at Disney World Resort in Orlando. So good luck to Coach Gilbertson and the rest of the Highlights dance team as they will be at the Nationals here next week. Gymnastics, they're at Minot on Saturday, and they've been off for a while, and so they will be back in competition here on Saturday as the gymnastics team will be at Minot, and then they're going to be getting ready for postseason. That starts in 2 weeks with the EDC, and that will be in Grand Forks. So that's what's coming up for Highliner Activities, and just stay tuned. We'll have more basketball here next week. But again, wrestling tomorrow, 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, Valley City and Central Cass and Fargo Davies. Well, my thanks again to Jaden Johnson, our camera operator, technical director, and producer tonight. And again, you folks that are joining us and watch us each and every Wednesday and all of our activities. Again, just go to YouTube and search Valley City Highliner Activities, and we've got everything archived there. You can enjoy them live, or you can watch them after the fact over and over again. And we do appreciate all of your support here in the Highliner Activity Network. We'll be back again with more Coach's Corner coming up next week, 6 o'clock here from the Hack. It's Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network.